And I mean this quite literally because the ICC has told Dhoni that he's going to have to take his gloves off because they're violating the rules. And according to sources, the BCCI is not going to escalate the matter any further. They are going to ask MS Dhoni to remove the gloves with the dagger logo. And it seems to be the end of this controversy. Hello and welcome to the Lords of Cricket, because we do have a World Cup also underway. But this has been the biggest controversy so far in World Cup 2019. Now, joining me on the show is Sippy, former cricketer, as well as Saad Jung. Before I come to you, gentlemen, I'm just going to go across to my correspondent, Karishma, who has details of what exactly the BCCI's next course of action is going to be. Karishma?
Well, what we're given to understand is that the BCCI is very, very unlikely to push this entire matter forward. They are going to stop right here. They are not going to take this up anymore. MS Dhoni will not be wearing those gloves with military insignia on it in any of the future matches, is what we are learning, because the COA meeting that happened yesterday, Vinod Rai in the morning had said that they are going to back MS Dhoni. They will write to the ICC. But when the meeting ended, Vinod Rai had changed his stance when he said that if there are specific rules with regard to wicket-keeping gloves in the ICC rule book, then we will abide by that. And that is what exactly is now happening, because the ICC, when it sent out its statement denying MS Dhoni's permission, denying BCCI permission, it said that they want the player uniform in accordance to a certain rule book, and that is exactly what they want to be followed. So they have set a precedent of sorts that no country or no player will apply for any such permission in future.
Right, Karishma, thanks so much for joining us with that update. I'm going to go across to Saad Jung first. Saad, it appears that the BCCI has done a bit of a U-turn and they have recalibrated their stance on the issue. What are your first reactions? Do you think that this was warranted, or the BCCI really should have dug in its heels?
My reaction is the same that it's been for so many years. That the BCCI has never taken a stance, that the BCCI has never backed its players, that the BCCI has never backed the moral and ethical rights of what it should be. Why did you allow this to become a national agenda, an issue of nationalism? Why didn't you just nip it in the bud? Why did it have to become this whole issue of patriotism for us before you take a decision which I'm afraid is wrong, and I feel is quite cowardly? And I'll tell you why, okay? I'm not just screaming because I'm upset. Of course, I am upset. I think we should have gone the whole hog this time, because we allowed this little mudda, which we could easily have shut down earlier, and allowed it to become and play on our nationalism. Now, the thing is that if you see the 3 lions on the head of the British players that they use, the national flag is allowed, but the national flag of the British doesn't have the 3 lions. For my viewers, for our viewers, I'm going to tell you what the 3 lions stand for. The lions have a history going back to the 12th century, when a standard with 3 gold lions, on a red field was carried into battle to inspire the troops. That's what the lions stand for. It's a military insignia. Whilst poor old Dhoni, who hasn't even used the entire insignia of the paratroopers, is not allowed to go into battle, even using that small little logo on his gloves. And the worst part is, the argument has not been taken up by the BCCI. It never has been. When has the BCCI backed us? I'm telling you, as a player who's played less than 25 games, I have not been given 1 rupee as pension, whilst others have triple. Test players can die, but their widows will get pension. But players like us will never get anything. The BCCI has never backed players. They have let Dhoni down. I think because you allowed this to become a nationalism issue and a patriotism issue, you should have gone all the hog. I think you've let this country down, BCCI. I'm very sorry about that, but that's what I feel.
Well, Saad is a very, very angry man today. Alan, do you want to weigh in on this? Do you share his sentiments?
You know, I love Saad, because Saad wears his heart on his sleeve. But on this one, Saad, please excuse me on this one. I don't want to sound like I'm going against you. I'm a placid guy, so I look at it differently. For me, this is the World Cup. I don't want to get into any controversy regarding politics or regarding anything about, patriotism. But I'm interested in the sport. I'm interested in cricket, because this, for me, the insignia is unnecessary, because it happened and it's made the country divided. It's made people have different opinions. I'm of the opinion that this is sport and this is cricket, and we should concentrate on the game, which is tomorrow. So there's, for me, I think BCCI, in my opinion, and I'm sorry again, Saad, in my opinion, I think BCCI has done the right thing because they have stood by the man at the start. Yes, they took a while to decide what to do, but at the same time, they would have consulted Dhoni. They would have consulted Ravi Shastri and Virat Kohli as well. And these guys together, I think they've taken a fantastic decision in my view, because we need to move forward. We need to win the World Cup. The last thing that you would want is MS Dhoni to, for example, say, I'm not playing and whatever, and to be remembered, a legend like MS Dhoni to be remembered in years to come, you know, because this could be his last World Cup. In years to come, we don't want him to be remembered as the man who refused to wear those gloves or refused to back down. So for me, it's the right decision, the absolute right decision, and we need to focus on the game, which is tomorrow.
Well, Saad, do you want to come in there? Because, and I'm just going to play devil's advocate here for a bit. Now, the rules say that there can't be anything military, there can't be anything political, but there's also a rule that says that besides the manufacturer's logo, there can't be any other sign. So even let's assume that this wasn't a military symbol, this wasn't a political statement or a racial statement that was being made, it was still in violation of the sponsorship rules.
I'll get to that. But first let me respond. And now whether, I'm sorry, Alan, I completely disagree with you because I don't know what you're fighting for. As a sports person, the first fundamental that I was taught was to be fair and stand for the right. And I'm doing that. I'm standing for the right because I simply believe that Dhoni is not doing wrong. If the MCC is allowed to do what they're doing right now, I'm sorry, we're not in the wrong. And if Dhoni is being asked not to play, the whole Indian team should not play. So I don't know what you're standing for, Alan. As a sports person, you should stand for the truth and you should fight for the right. And I'm fighting for the right. I've always fought for the right. Now, you know, Aarti, I need to read Regulation D1 to you. Regulation D1 is about logos, right? No logo shall be permitted to be displayed on the clothing or equipment if other than a national logo, and there are a couple of other logos, or a non-commercial logo. Now, this is the regulation of the ICC. If the ICC says that a non-commercial logo is permitted as per regulation D1, then this is a non-commercial logo. So even technically, even legally speaking, Dhoni is in the right. So what law and what rule are they throwing upon us because we are what? Because we are colored and because we're going to sit back and take it? Because our association is not going to fight for what is right? Alan, this is not about cricket. This is about a much larger cause. This is about a cause that you stand up and you fight for, because if you find that there is even the slightest, even a 0.01% of racialism in this, if you find that the logic that is coming out of the ICC is not right, I'm sorry, stand up and fight. De Oliveira from South Africa. He is the one who started the racial fight and the extinction of racialism in South Africa as a cricketer. And we need to do that. Now is the opportunity. We need to stand up and say, how can it be right, a military insignia for you, for the British, for the past 200 years, but not right for Mr. Dhoni? And you're not willing to fight for it because, Alan, the easy way out is not to fight. The easy way out is to give in, let go. अरे चलो भाई चलता है. हमने हिंदुस्तानियों ने ये बहुत किया है और करके हम मार खाए हैं. 1000 साल से हम मार खाए हैं. आज तक हम मार खा रहे हैं. अरे चलता है भाई, चलो कुछ नहीं, क्या फर्क पड़ता है. No, it's not that anymore, Alan. Now we stand up. Beautiful example. It was in front of us. A legal study can be done on this, and we can fight in whichever legal dimension you want us to fight in, and we'll win this battle. Because the British are wrong in carrying the 3 lions, and if the British are right, then Dhoni is right. And I will fight for it. That's it, Aarti. What else can I say?
Alan, do you want to respond? Do you want to add to that fight?
Very politely. I just want to say, first of all, Dhoni is 100% not in the wrong because he didn't do anything wrong. He's wearing an insignia. He's showing his, his pride for the country. So he's absolutely right. He's not done anything wrong. But I'm going back on the rules. If the rule says, and I don't think this is just an English thing, just because ICC have a head.
Which rule? Alan, which rule?
If the rules, I don't know, the ICC rules.
Which rule?
Let me just finish and you can have your say.
No, tell me. No, Alan, you tell me which rule. There is no rule.
Perhaps there is no rule, but if the fact that
What
ICC,
rule?
Let me finish, Saad. if the ICC says that he's broken the rules, I don't know, because I'm not in the ICC. If ICC says he's broken the rules, that's what I'm actually getting at. If he has broken the rules, right, or if he's flouting the rules, if India is flouting the rules with this insignia, then that's the only point I'm making. Then it's important that India stands by that decision. I'm not trying to say that we should not fight, but if the rules say, I don't know the rules. If I knew the rules, I would tell you. But if the rules say, and we will find out in due course, if the rules say that it is against the rules, and you're flouting the rules, then it's obvious that you've got to accept it, because that's life. What is the point of having rules if you don't accept it? And I'm actually the firm believer that BCCI must have understood that the case was not strong enough. And that's one of the reasons they must have realized, that if our case is not strong enough and ICC have an advantage on this with us, it's better to accept it right now and not take this, drag it along for tomorrow. Because it's important that we concentrate on the game. I'm not saying it one bit. I'm coming back to the point. Dhoni has done nothing wrong. Dhoni is a legend, and he'll continue to be a legend. But for me, I don't think, we need to fight somebody, and especially bring racism in this, because it's nothing about racism. ICC have Shashank Manohar there. ICC have, if I'm not mistaken, the Sri Lankan wicket-keeping batsman, the great Sangakkara. So I think there's a lot of people there. There's nothing to do with racism here, in my view. I think we should not push this to racism. I think this is very important that, yes, we fight for our cause, but if the rules say that we are wrong, then accept it. That's all I'm saying.
Well, it is becoming really heated in the studio right now, and
What
I seem
rule?
to have...
Can I come in here, Aarti?
Yes, very briefly, Saad, very briefly.
Aarti, allow me to come in, please.
Yeah, very briefly.
I mean, Alan, what are you saying? Alan, what are you saying? What rule? You don't even know what rule you're quoting. ICC is giving you some rubbish and you believed it. On one hand, you say Dhoni is right. On the other hand, you say that he should be banned. I mean, what are you talking about, Alan? Give me a rule which says that the British are allowed to carry those 3 insignia. They have prior permission for that. I will sit back and say, then absolutely right. There is no racism. But if you don't have the information, if you don't have that decision taken by the ICC prior to them wearing that, then I'm sorry, it's wrong. It's a military insignia. And the rules are very clearly stated here. I have the rules in front of me. And the rule categorically says that that a non-commercial insignia is allowed. That is the law. That is regulation D1, Alan.
Well,
so you can't say that you accept on one hand that Dhoni is right, on the other hand Dhoni should be banned. I mean, come on, yeah.